happy week 4. We are about halfway through the course, so please don't forget to take the mid-semester evaluation to let me know how I'm doing and how I can improve the course. As you probably already know, your responses are completely anonymous. A couple notes about the first assignment. By and large, you guys did a fantastic job. Common issues were not being specific enough and not being able to locate or provide a strategic plan. However, the instructions indicated that you could discuss future goals instead. So where does the organization see themselves in 3 years? How will they create or sustain programming that aligns with their mission and vision? Also, if you're unsure about whether you're completing an assignment correctly, please don't hesitate to email me. I'm also available to review drafts of any assignment if you're having trouble. And lastly, don't wait until the last minute. And if you do, make sure that you have read the prompt beforehand to make sure that you've gathered all of the necessary information to comprehensively answer every question. So moving on to budgets. While there are many different types of budgets, such as line item, probably your most common one, performance, program, operating, zero-based, they all reflect projected income and expenses for the upcoming year. This week, the Brody and Nares reading focuses on using budgets as a strategic management tool. Budgeting is actually an iterative process. New information is constantly gathered and budgets are revisited. Many organizations review their budgets at least on a monthly basis, so they are able to identify whether or not there are discrepancies in projected income versus actual income. If found early enough, adjustments can be made to ensure the solvency of the program or organization. Many organizations will consider various ways to cut costs. For some ideas, please make sure to read pages 273 to 278. 3 principal concepts that have been proven to ensure long-term financial sustainability are 1. Diversified funding. We discussed this concept a week or so ago, where there's too much dependence on one source of income, which really creates a huge funding problem, because if the source dries up or they choose not to fund you again, then your organization can really be in crisis. 2. Making sure your organization has reserves, but not so much that the organization currently denies clients who need help, and not so little such that the organization relies on a funder to bail them out. It is recommended to keep about 90 days of cash reserves, or about 10% of your overall budget. And 3. Prove that your organization achieves its objectives at reasonable costs, otherwise known as cost effectiveness. Brody and Nair define this as the measure of how effectively resources are used, results obtained for each unit of cost. To carry out cost effectiveness, organizations track the cost of a program and record its results. Then they compare the two to determine whether or not the results justify its costs. Program evaluation is the other big topic for this week, and it is certainly not one size fits all. The type of evaluation you perform depends on what you want to learn from the program. For example, there are 3 major types of program evaluation. 1. Goal-based, 2. Process-based, and 3. Outcomes-based. Before you choose the type of evaluation, McNamara emphasizes consulting a list of key considerations, and a few include what's the purpose of the evaluation, who is the audience for the information that you seek to find out about the evaluation, and what kinds of information is needed, how can I collect the information, when is the information needed by. Outcome-based evaluations is a type of evaluation that is most commonly requested by funders. For this evaluation, indicators such as knowledge, perceptions, attitudes, or skills are typically measured. There are several methods for obtaining information for program evaluations. A few examples include surveys, focus groups, interviews, and observations. However, here again, the method of collection is dependent on the purpose of the evaluation and the type of data needed. Each source has its own advantages and disadvantages, so it's important to approach an evaluation on a program-by-program basis. And much of a program's evaluation is dictated by the resources available. For instance, Larger organizations may be able to hire external researchers or evaluators to conduct a more in-depth analysis of the program outcomes than a one-person in-house program evaluator. So looking ahead to what's due this week, the discussion forum initial post is due by midnight on Thursday, and the response post is with the same triads from last week due by midnight on Sunday. Also, don't forget that assignment 2 is due this Sunday. My expectations for this paper are for all the questions to be adequately answered from the template for program proposal 1. For the first section, be sure to answer the statement of need in complete sentences and in paragraph form. I discourage you to write out the question and answer them individually. Please follow suggested links. For the second section, goals and objectives, please draft a minimum of 2 program goals with a minimum of 2 objectives per goal. This can be written out in bullet form, but in complete sentences. For the third section, the logic model, please fill out the chart with all 4 columns, including input, throughputs or activities, outputs, and outcomes. So I know that was a lot. It was slightly over 5 minutes, but I look forward to seeing you next week.